Hey guys, what is up? What's going on out there this morning? Monday morning. Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. Another episode of 7 Around 7. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday morning. I am here in the California desert. A couple more days. I'm heading back to Colorado on Wednesday afternoon this week. And yeah, looking forward to getting back there. Getting down on that property. We got 6 acres down there. We're clearing it out. A little chainsaw action. I think the whole thing about, hauling wood and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Great exercise. Great cross training. Look, guys, a couple things. What I've got for you is down below in the description. There is a link that will take you to a brand new course that I put together. And I've got an introductory offer for you that expires this Tuesday night. That would be tomorrow night, which is at midnight out here, Pacific time zone. And really what I want to help you do kind of 3 things, right? Number 1 is to make really smart, instant shot choices. Number 2 is see the ball like a freaking hawk. I mean, just have a real clarity on seeing the incoming tennis ball, which is kind of what we're going to talk about this morning. And then absolutely trust that you don't need to manufacture stroke technique, right? That you can allow your subconscious to be able to do that on its own. So that's really kind of the focus of the course. It's called the Match Play Magic Trifecta. Those 3 things, right? And so look, the course is brand new. It's down below. Click the link, and I think that you'll really like the included bonus courses along with the price, which is really good. But again, everything gets off the table tomorrow night. Enrollment closes tomorrow night at Tuesday, August 24th at midnight out here. So guys, a couple things. Look, first of all, a shout out to my good friend, Dave Sievertson here from the desert. This morning, he just won the National 70 grass courts in singles in Philadelphia. And one of the all-time bizarre kind of draw score lines, Dave showed up as the number 3 seed, and it was apologies for this. What do I got here? Hold on one sec. So he shows up as the number 3 seed. It's a first round of 64. There's 2 buys. The first seed and the second seed get buys. So he ends up playing his first round match, right? Wins 0-0. Plays his second round match, round of 32, wins 0-2, right? So he hasn't really been challenged much. Then his third round match, in fact, let me just double check this thing just to make sure I've got this right. Yeah. Oh, and no, wait. I'm sorry. Second round match was 1-1. His third round match, round of 16, was 0-2. And then in the quarterfinals, he gets a default. I guess the guy was hurt from his match yesterday, or I should say from the day before. In the semifinals, he plays the number 1 seed, Bob Litwin, and Dave wins first set 6-1, and Bob retires. So now Dave's lost a total of 5 games in 5 matches. And he shows up this morning to play the finals, and his opponent, Len Wofford, defaults. He's got a sore foot, apparently wants to save himself for the doubles. So he goes through the draw, 6 rounds, loses 5 games. And a lot of people are going to say, oh man, just, how lucky can a guy be? Well, here's the deal. And I remember I got this message from Charlie Hovler, Northern California Hall of Famer. I don't know how many gold balls this guy's won in both singles and doubles. But he once told me, he said, and this is before I'd won, I think I'd already won a doubles gold ball way back in the 35s, right? And but it'd been, I don't know how many years later that I was still trying to get the second one. And he just told me, he said, you know what, you can't cherry pick which tournaments you show up at. You've just got to show up over and over and over again. And when you do, something good's eventually going to happen. And for me, 25 years after I won my first gold ball, I ended up winning the 60 hard courts in 2009. And I do believe that one of the reasons is that one of the top guys in my age group that year did not enter because one of his kids was getting married that weekend or the weekend of the semis and finals. And so I'm not saying that that he would have won the tournament if he'd shown up. Might have. But the point is I don't care what level you're playing at. I don't care if you're playing for a gold ball like Dave was today or this whole week, or if you're just playing for some kind of something. It's all relative. You got to keep showing up. You got to keep putting yourself out there, not once in a while, and not kind of cherry picking where and when and depending on who's entered the tournament or who's entered the event. No, you got to keep showing up. And one of the things about what we've been working on all of last week and what's in this course that I've got for you about the mental skills required for not getting tight, for not being nervous, for not choking at the end of sets, the end of matches. And again, there's no guarantee on anything out there, but how do you eventually start to desensitize yourself so that you do play with more confidence? Well, one of the ways is that you've got to break through the nerves and the choky thing and the tension and the tight by showing up over and over and over again. And like I just said, eventually you start to get to being desensitized and or one of the top guys or the top gals in your event, maybe they get hurt in the first round. I mean, look, I remember winning the 2018 70 hard courts in the finals. I played a guy who the same thing as Dave. He went through the draw because he was beating guys who were not up to his skill level. He was getting some defaults. He was getting some retirements. And by the time he got the finals to play me, I think he'd lost, like maybe a handful of games, the same thing as Dave. So for him in that tournament, you just never know. And I mean, he was, I don't know what he was seeded, but a couple of the top seeds on his half of the draw bailed out early or got hurt or upset or something. So that's one of the messages for today. And look, congratulations to Dave. Really happy for him. I mean, look, if you work hard day in and day out on your game and you show up on a regular basis and you put yourself out there, the chances are good things are going to happen at some point. And so do it. All right, guys, look, let's get into the title for today, which is Match Confidence, how to focus your attention on just the tennis ball. And for me, I think what happens, one of the reasons that we maybe play better a little bit in practice than we do in the real deal matches, is we actually see the tennis ball visually have better, I'm not sure if the word's acuity, but we just have a better focus on the incoming tennis ball. And see now, and there's Owen there going with the and hire a great hitting partner. So Dave was, what are we doing here? Okay, thank you. Stop, man. Siri. Dave was, I'm getting a little off topic. So Dave came out here to practice on the grass. Dave does live here in the desert, but he came over to practice on the grass for, I don't know, 3 weeks, I think, before going to Philadelphia with the big Owen McIntosh. And he said, and Owen saying, and hire great hitting partners. We've been joking all week. Owen's now being known as the guy that got Dave the gold ball, whatever. And I would just say, if Dave hired you, wow, he didn't pay you enough, man. All right, so where was I? Watching the tennis ball. In practice, I think we actually physically see the tennis ball better than we do in the real deal matches. And a lot of that is the old school stuff of, the result, you just don't seem to care as much or it doesn't matter as much in practice, blah, 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 whatever it is. But I think the reality is that in the matches that count, tournament, league, or serious practice matches, I don't think we physically see the tennis ball as clearly as well as we do in practice. So look, here's what I'm going to tell you that at least works for me, and it's worth you experimenting with and trying. The old Tim Galway bounce hit. Look, it's super easy to practice that, right? So when the ball lands on your side of the court, you say to yourself, bounce. And when you make contact, you say hit. All right, that's been around forever. Sounds super simple. It is super simple. Most people don't practice it. 1 or 2% of the players out there actually spend some time more than just, well, I'll just tinker for a few balls on it and see what happens, and thinking that it's just going to be a quick fix. It temporarily could be a quick fix, but unless you keep doing it, making a habit, it doesn't carry over to where you can play instinctively and in the real deal. So here's what I do. I don't really say bounce, even though sometimes in practice I'll work on the bounce hit thing. But in the real match, all that I'm really doing is focused on when's the ball going to arrive, right? What's that timing point, right? What's that moment, that nanosecond in time when the ball, and I'm watching the ball come in, and saying a word or doing something right at the moment of contact. And for me, it's just an exhale, right? I remember reading decades ago, someone asked Margaret Court about the great Margaret Court, all time Grand Slam, singles and doubles, total winner. Asked her about something about the return of serve when she was returning serve. And she said all that she really does is she focuses on watching the ball come out of the bounce, coming up out of the bounce, out of the service box at her. And so however you do this, I think what you're going to have to do is in the real deal matches that count is certainly in the warm up. I mean, I do this in the warm up every time I go out, whether it's practice or a match. I'm really focused on that ball coming up out of the bounce on my side of the court and making sure that I've got real good clarity. I don't know if it's clarity or acuity or whatever it is, but visual contact with the tennis ball. And for me, it's a timing thing. And I'm just trying to exhale right at the moment of contact, right? So I think that there's a difference between practice and the real deal match in terms of, I think we watch the ball better in practice. I just think we see it better. And a lot of that is we're being distracted. We're being distracted. We're distracting ourselves. Like I said yesterday, we've got free will out on the tennis court to think the way we want to think. No one's forcing us to think a certain way, right? We've got free will to choose how we think. And if you want to choose to think that what's really important is that you see the tennis ball, then you can choose to think that. If you want to think other thoughts during the match, like, whatever, I'm nervous, I'm tight, I don't want to blow this point, I got to win this point, you're putting all of this stuff into your head. That's all negative thinking. That's creating tension. That's creating nerves, right? It makes you cough up leads at the end of sets and end of matches. So anyway, that's how you focus on your attention on just the ball. And I've gone through matches where that's all I think about, right? I don't think about shot choice. I just trust it. I don't think about stroke technique. I trust it, right? And today's match may be that all I'm going to do is focus on seeing the tennis ball, certainly just before contact, and the whole, guys say, well, can you actually see the ball make contact? I don't know. But I certainly want to make sure that I'm looking at it just prior to contact. So, all right, guys, that's it for me today. Look, quick reminder down below, because it closes tomorrow night at midnight out here Pacific time zone, a brand new course on helping you specifically, and I'm calling it the magic trifecta, the 3 things that during a point that you've got to do, and none of them have anything to do with the outcome of the point. None of them have anything to do with manufacturing technique, None of that, right? Every one of the three things, and if you do them in a specific sequence, what you're going to discover is that you play with more swing freedom, you play with more confidence, and that you consistently play to the top of your current skill level, whatever that is. You don't have this big range where for a few games you play great, and then for the rest of the match you don't, right? You consistently bring whatever is your skill level range now, the bottom of it, up to your top, and you're consistently playing at the top of your skill level with these three things during the point. And when you do that, I'm telling you, you start to really develop a much more solid base of confidence that you can take from match to match. And that's when you get an opportunity at that point to start playing at a little bit higher skill level. And we'll see where it goes from there. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Any questions, any comments, or any remarks down below in the comments area, let me know. You can certainly always shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. And if you haven't already done so, click that link in the description area and head on over and see what's in this offer, right? 6 bonus courses tightly related to the masterclass, the Match Play Magic trifecta, and just a ridiculously insane low price until tomorrow night. And then, don't be late. All right, guys, till tomorrow, get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day. Guys, I'll see you again tomorrow morning.